It was in 84 when I was watching the Los Angeles Olympics and I got to see the first women's marathon live, that I came to know that somebody can run a 42 kilometers. 2005, I ran my first full marathon in Mumbai. And from then till now, I've lost track of the number of races I've been. 2005 February, it was at the Coffee Day, first floor, CMH Road, Indiranagar.
Wow, okay.
And that led to the beginning of Hyderabad Runners. India as a nation, it doesn't suffer from lifestyle disease, all that. It suffers from inactivity.
It's possibly the most inclusive race in the country, and I'm not saying this because I'm speaking with you.
If you think of Hyderabad, you have Charminar, you have Biryani. Someday people should think even Hyderabad Runners.
These flyovers, people dread it. We talk about Mumbai Marathon having a pedal road, but here, as soon as you start the half marathon, you get the first flyover.
As you know, Hyderabad is a plateau region. So asking me to remove any of this is like asking me to remove humidity from Mumbai.
Hello everyone, my name is Vikas Singh and I'm the founder of Fitpage. The conversation today is on our podcast to have a guest who talks about his running journey, but more importantly, he talks about a run club, a running society, a race, many races, and rather a running revolution. I am talking with Rajesh Vetcha, a name synonymous to running, helping, improving, and bringing everyone together to create a running revolution. A race that's known for its inclusivity, a race that's known for taking care of runners, and the one that challenges runners as we go to attempt. That is Hyderabad Marathon. A race that stems from Hyderabad Runners Society, which was founded by Rajesh a couple of decades ago. Brick by brick, runner by runner, year on year, he has built it together with the help of committee members, community, help from other organizers, NYRR, and various stakeholders from different corridors, whether government or private, whether help from volunteer forces or from NGOs. He has brought everyone together. And this is why this race is so loved by all of us. The moment we think of Hyderabad Marathon, we think of two things primarily: the challenge it brings through its flyovers and the inclusivity that it commits to when you go and attempt this race. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Rajesh, who is the founder of Hyderabad Runners Society, who is also the race director of Hyderabad Marathon. And not only that, he also is a board member of AIMS. And all of these together bring community power to the love of running, to the sport of running. Today, let's discuss how he went about building all of these. What was he doing in his previous life, rather the previous part of his life, how he started all of this together, how he got help from everyone, and how he gave it back to the community. Let's understand each of it one by one with none other than Rajesh. Let's welcome Mr. Vetcha to the show. Rajesh, welcome to Run with Fitpage. It's our weekly conversation where we speak with everything to do with running, and you are someone who has been an inspiration to so many for particularly the impact in the running community, whether beginners or experienced runners, that you have created. So thank you so much for doing everything that you have done so far, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Vikas. Thank you to the Fitpage community for having me on your show. And it's just that probably I've been there for too long, and so I just have had made so many good connections and people on my running journey. And it's been a very mutually enriching aspect of my life too. So I thank everybody who has been there with me all along.
Awesome. We will talk about the race, we'll talk about the running initiatives and everything else. But as we do it in every conversation, I would request to start with your introduction to people who might not know of your previous experiences. Like, for example, yesterday I was sitting with someone who's a mutual friend, and he was telling me that you used to be a journalist, and I had no idea about it. So I think it will be nice to start with how you started your career, and then eventually how did your interest in running came together.
Yeah, thanks, Vikas. Yes, I did start my career as a journalist. My first two degrees were in political science, so invariably we had to go into government service or probably something to do with journalism. And it was just the beginning of what we call as the LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization. So I started my career as a stringer with the Economic Times, and I worked with them for 2 years, um, posted across different places in India, and that gave me a very good chance to look at things what had happened in 90 between 91 and 95, uh, which we all talk about, we all still think about. That was the one of the defining moments in India post independence. And then I went on to do my master's in corporate finance in UK. I worked there for 3 years in the area of public private partnerships, and an opportunity came to come back to India. And I was very clear that my going abroad was to see what was here and what was there and kind of bridge the gap. And I came back and I used to work for a multinational developing power plants in southern part of India, based out of Madras. And that took me to some couple of years in banking, and then I joined the GMR group in 2004, and I had a chance to be associated with the airports, the power projects, and highways. So some of the interesting things I did in my career was I was there from the concept to commissioning of the first greenfield airport in India, then the New Delhi airport, the Terminal 3, and many more through my career. And I also had the opportunity to be part of the GMR sports team in terms of us getting our IPL team, managing it, was part of the Kabaddi team, and so a lot of things. So my entire strength has been developing projects from concept to commissioning, and that's where my professional background has always been. That on the running front, it's interesting. I was always passionate about running, and I used to be part of running in the school teams and all that, cross country teams. But it was a very small way. It was good that the team had too many people, nothing like a first, a second, a third. And it was in '84 when I was watching the Los Angeles Olympics, and I got to see the first women's marathon live. That I came to know that somebody can run a 42 kilometers. That was very inspiring, and I thought to myself that sometime in my life I should kind of try and do a half marathon at least. In '96, I tried for an entry into the London Marathon, and I had to raise a charity money, and I could not do so because I was a student, and I couldn't not run that event that year. Back home in India in 2003, after marriage and having children, slightly settled, I decided to start my running journey. In 2002, I started training for my first half marathon. I registered for the Mumbai in 2004, but due to change in date, I couldn't participate in that. At that time, Pune was the only international marathon being held in the country. So I continued my training, and in 2005, I ran my first full marathon in Mumbai. And from then till now, I've lost track of the number of races I've been. It's taken me to different parts of India, different parts of the world. It's been great. And after the first Mumbai marathon, I was keen that probably we should start a group with like-minded people. And I posted a meetup in Bangalore. I used to live in Bangalore then. And 20 members turned up for the first, probably it was the first meetup of a running group in India. And
Which year was it?
2005 February, it was at the Coffee Day, first floor, CMH Road, Indiranagar.
Wow, okay.
I just can't forget that moment. And then that gave me the first set of people whom I started running with. And it was great that we had a group in Bangalore. Then I moved to Delhi, and I had a similar group in Delhi. In 2007, I moved on professional assignment to Hyderabad. And I had been visiting Hyderabad very regularly. So I kind of knew I was moving in May of 2007, and I started the group in April online. And that led to the beginning of Hyderabad Runners, We started with 5 people now, and we don't have numbers of the number of people, because to be a member of Hyderabad Runners, it's not a paid membership. You just need to come for our runs, participate in our events, or volunteer, and you're part of Hyderabad Runners. It's as simple as that. We are, however, governed under the Societies Act, so we have 100 paid members for just being the core group of the society.
Got it. Wow. You still remember each of those very distinct times when you thought through each of these. And this is how I think each of our first journeys are, which are very important, whether it is that you're starting to train in 2004, 2003 and 4 for the SCMM, which it started then. And I think eventually you went to PIM later, then you did the first marathon, and then the CMH Road, Indiranagar, pretty legendary. That is very close to Puma, where Puma used to be there. I remember I used to be in Bangalore, and this CCD was the place where most of us would visit to meet friends, etc. And it seems running is very inclusive, and it all started from CMH Road as a concept. I remember back then, little later, not then, there used to be a couple of other smaller groups that started. Then there were various initiatives that were coming out at different places. I remember RFL was there a little later, I think 2007-8.
No.
And
Same 2005 April was RFL. So this group which we started moved on to became very active with RFL. So 2005 April, the first run is in Bannerghatta Road. You asked me.
got it. I moved to Bangalore in 2007, and that's when I got to know of RFL. So that's how
By then, it was 2 years old, very active. It built in a fair bit of community. So I used to run with them, a lot of people there.
Got it. And you're not from Hyderabad originally.
Originally, I'm from a place known as Vijayanagaram, which is next to Vizag. But I spent all my childhood in Madras, and afterwards I'd been all over. So I still tell people that I'm a native of Madras for all practical purposes, having lived and spent all my formative years there. But I've been in Hyderabad now for close to 17 years, in and out of the city, but my family has been here.
Right, nice. When we think of Hyderabad Runners Society, there's a lot of love, there's a lot of affection, and I particularly, my family, our friends, we've been to Hyderabad for the race a few times, and we always say this, that it's possibly the most inclusive race in the country. And I'm not saying this because I'm speaking with you. The support that you see at every kilometer, the warmth that you see from the police forces, the municipality, the students, the volunteers, the organizers, pacers, all alike, is comparable to nothing else. But like what you said, the seed were sowed long back. How did you think of back then that this was needed to be done? Because this was not in India. Then we are at a deflection point now, but earlier it was at a very elementary stage. One thing is to run, but second is also to build a community that you have built. How did you go about it?
In 2007, I ran. The Hyderabad Runners was a Google group, and we used to meet up every weekend. We used to support each other for the runs. That's how the first group started. But in 2007, I ran the New York Marathon, and I would say that that was one event, and what I saw completely changed the perspective of what an event can be and how running can be so inclusive. I had the opportunity to meet the wheelchair racers, blade runners, everything. And then I just thought that such a simple activity can be so inclusive. And so you had Amelie Vintners too, you had Dean Carnezes, everybody. And it was a very beautiful thing. And I just realized that festivals just not need to be around religion. It can be around a passionate activity. I had experienced that when I had gone for music festivals when I used to live in Europe, or what I've seen. But something around participative sport, it was simply outstanding. It was a very, very beautiful thing. And it was like, how, we are always looking at how best you can have an inclusive society, humanity at its best. And I say that race for me was humanity at its best, simply because everybody is supporting everybody. The runner, the volunteer, the spectator. I mean, it was beautiful. So it never occurred to me that something like this can happen. And I came back in 2008. We worked with the 10K Foundation. We started the Hyderabad Marathon first, 2008 and 9. And people might laugh when I tell that, for me, I just felt like, we had to be like a New York Marathon or another overseas marathon simply because of what they did. And that kind of sowed the seeds that it was just not about events alone. It was
Yeah.
about building the community, creating awareness. Initially, it was about marathons, but then people started coming and asking us, why marathons? We just want to run. And I realized that people have stopped or lost the ability to even run, which is something so natural as part of the evolution of Homo sapiens.
Yeah.
So we started having Saturday runs for them. We started having very inclusive things going on. In 2008 and 9, we organized a run with 10K Foundation. But in 2010, they told that they're not keen to continue it for whatever reasons. And that's when Hyderabad Runners Society, we kind of, the core group decided that, okay, let's organize a marathon. And we registered ourselves as a society, but we didn't know what we were getting into because, it involves a lot of things. And now, if you ask me in hindsight, would you have done that? No, simply because it was so much of hard work and ability to sustain it through. So 2011, we organized the first Hyderabad Marathon, and everything was, a surprise for us. I mean, like simple things. We expected volunteers will turn up in the morning, and not even 10-15% turned up.
Yeah.
And we were having empty aid stations with water bottles on them. And there were people walking and picking those Gatorade and Aquafina water bottles away and walking in the morning. So it was a big eye opener as to what can go wrong. And believe me, everything that could have gone wrong could have happened, but we were very lucky that the event went smoothly. It was flawless. The runner had a good experience. It was only 1,200 people, and very early in part of this, I realized that the event has to be owned by the city, the police, the municipal authorities, the residents. Everybody have to come on to make the event what it is. But it is difficult. So we just continued. And one more thing, that was the same time that the Telangana agitation was going on. So it was everything was, I would say, against us. So 2011, 12, 13, we slowly built up the event, and 14 new state was formed. The government was supportive. And then I think from then it was no looking back. We just kept going on. And 2019, we got to a very, huge numbers of 28,000. Then COVID came in. But 21, we were the only major city in India to organize public event with close to 8,000 people. Thanks to, again, the government authorities understanding, we took all the precautions. It was between the second and the third wave. And post COVID, we have come, and this year we have had around close to 28,000 registrations. So, if you ask me what makes it, yes, the purpose, passion of people themselves, planning. And I say that the money, paisa is the last. Because if you have all these, you have people to support you with the money.
Yeah.
On this journey, there have been so many people, the people who are some of the founding members with me, my office bearers with me, the Hyderabad Marathon co-team members, then huge list. It would have not been possible without them.
Yeah.
Then our sponsors who kind of believed us through our journey. And most important is the government authorities and now the public and everybody else. And of course, the friends and families of every single member who has made it happen. For me, this has been a great chance for me to kind of do what I did. Probably I was kind of destined to do that, or it was the right time. And I've been witness to the entire running movement in India for the last 20 years. And that's how, when you speak to people, suddenly you just mention. And we have something in common that we ran around that time, or we kind of race together, or we travel together. That's been I've been very lucky, I would say.
Beautiful. And I think luck supports the ones who put genuine efforts, and you've been doing it for long period of time. Just to take a couple of points back, one on New York Marathon, I remember meeting with George Hirsch the year before last in Boston. Just before Boston Marathon, we were catching up, and we were discussing various things about running in India and how the running grew in the US. I remember Frank Shorter was also sitting there, and he was talking about how the running grew significantly after he got the gold medal in the 72 Munich Olympics. And it got democratized after that. But what was really interesting is when George was talking about the childlike enthusiasm still that he had about what he has built, what the legacy that has carried on. And I see something similar here. I'm not, again, not flattering or comparing, but it's the sheer joy of seeing people of all abilities, whether elites, the Olympians, or the beginners, being able to come out that early morning and put together whatever they are able to do. That's just phenomenal. And you being able to lead that and get everybody to be together is simply commendable. And I'm not sure you need this appreciation from me, but it's something that we hear from almost everyone that we talk to about Hyderabad runners. And so thank you so much for continuing to do this for the last so many years. That was the first part. The second part has been that any community can be built in several ways. One is by having a brand push, put in and spend a lot of money. Or second is build it ground up, take everybody along. And I see in this case it's the latter. I still remember, so the year before last, Mansi, who's my wife now, we were seeing each other then, and she was doing her first half marathon at Hyderabad, and I had finished my run and I had come back to pick her up. I think I met her at around 17th kilometer or so, and she was extremely tired. The last flyover comes, and after that she's like, I am not able to continue. And around then we see about 1,200 school kids on the side, they cheering up so much, and that became her fastest split. So I see it just motivates so many people. And by the way, no money, nothing can replicate this kind of joy. It has to come from within, and it just showed the ethos of the race, ethos of the community that has brought this together. So thank you again for doing all of this.
Yeah, thank you. And I like to thank all my team members who have been there, who have worked. I mean, like, it looks good, but behind the scenes, I sometimes have had the toughest argument, toughest fights. As long as they thought that it's issue based, it's okay. But I've had people who think that it's personality based, so there's nothing much I can do about it.
I would like to request you to go through a little more in detail about Hyderabad Runners Society as to how it operates, how does it promote running and walking to people of Hyderabad and anyone else who is coming to the city, as well as how the community supports each other. And why I'm asking this is, I think there's so much like a template that other running clubs and groups, communities can also take inspiration from. That's one part. And the second part also is for people who are either new to the city or moving, they can look forward to being part of it. So it will be great if we can go through it.
Yeah, as I mentioned to you earlier, 2007, 8, 9, we were thinking about it should be a group for just marathoners. Then suddenly I realized that people would want to actually just run and people be active. So it was then I realized that India as a nation, it doesn't suffer from lifestyle disease, all that. It suffers from inactivity. That is the biggest problem. And so we started kind of trying to see how people can become active through running. So the aim of Hyderabad Runners is to help people lead active lifestyles and make running as the preferred form of fitness activity. It's as simple as that. It's not about 5Ks, 10Ks, marathons, ultras, personal best. It's all about. So that I would say is the basic premise on which we work. And in 2010, you were mentioning about George Hirsch and everybody. We were lucky in 2010. I kind of approached New York Road Runners, to help us with mentorship. So for 3 years, we had a formal agreement for mentorship with them, who kind of helped us on what they do and everything. So they had three verticals: advocacy, training, events. Well, the events bring a lot of money. It was about building the community of running. And they had so well established themselves by then that the president of the New York Road Runners was sitting on the mayor's council talking about how to make the city runner friendly, walkable. How does running get people together irrespective of caste, creed, gender, race, religion? They're working very closely with the schools to get children active. I mean, it was simply amazing that a running group can do something so big. So, and advocacy is something which we started working with corporates, various people on how to create this. We started the couch. So we started spreading the message of running and what it means to people. So everybody who joined us became our ambassador. There was no formal publicity. There was no kind of, I would say, any published pamphlets, none of it. So that was the side of advocacy, reaching out to women, reaching out to all kinds of possible people. And we also kind of worked with certain government organizations like the National Police Academy, all these people, and they found it very nice. And some police officers trained with us, and that led on to many people. So it was like a snooker ball effect that you hit it and it goes around. This led to the fact that, okay, you're creating awareness. What about training? So back in 2013, 14, I had gone to, again, USA, the road running clubs, got myself certified as a coach. I had an opportunity to interact with so many people like Bill Pierce and everybody in America, who felt like you should create this as a mass base and see that this becomes accessible and make it like community centric activity. So I would say we are probably the first running group again back in 2013, a proper structured training program for people to do an event. We came out with that. And then we decided that let's have a couch to 5K program. So 2015, we started a couch to 5K program targeted at, you know, literally couch potatoes. And at the same time, we realized that the future is with children. So we have something known as the outdoor kids, under which we started having summer camps for them to see that to make running as a way of life. So we started doing these training programs, and now there comes the third vertical. So we started with the Hyderabad Marathon, and then we had a women's run, a children's run. Now we have a stadium run also together. So these are the 4 or 5 events. So three verticals is what. How are we structured? As I told you, we have 100 members, general members, in which 20 are core members. And the core members have a qualifying criteria. Every year they have to run a marathon. They should have run so many runs with the community. They should have volunteered. There should not be any controversies or any issues around them. So we keep them. And in this 20 members, we choose 7 office bearers for a period of 2 years. And this is uh, the core committee, and the office bearers is the I would say the group which kind of organizes, is responsible for everything. We also realized very early that we needed to have staff. If we just can't do this on volunteer base. So
Yeah.
2014, we managed to get our first full-time employee. It was very difficult to get somebody to join a running group. So we managed to get that. I mean, I know his father telling me that he's to get married and he might not get married because of his joining. And thanks. So it was Shiv who actually joined, and thanks to him at that point of time, the trust he had on us, and he's built a career which I would always be happy about. So getting a first employee, now we have around close to 7 employees, including the chief program officer, hopefully managing the activities of the society. We still are volunteer driven. A fair bit of activity comes from us. But I would like to kind of see at a day that, the office is running all by itself and we are more at the strategic level and not involved in day-to-day activities, but rather the strategic insights. And we come on the day of the event and volunteer rather than trying to direct things. So that would make it what it is. So I'm like very happy as to where we got to, but I'm sure that we can do a lot more. And I mean, it's like this. If you think of Hyderabad, you have Charminar, you have biryani. Someday people should think even Hyderabad runners. So that should be what Hyderabad runners can do to the city of Hyderabad. Uh, that's my aspiration and my vision, and I only hope the team which continues to kind of do that.
Let me tell you, we already think of it that way. When we think of Hyderabad, of course, we have a bias towards running, and so that way a lot for sure. But with the way we have seen the constant that has been with the race, with the community members at any level, has been that everybody is so passionate about running, and I can see it from this conversation and every other conversation that we have had and or we experience. I remember 2014, if I'm not wrong, I did the first time half marathon.
It was the hottest. It was the hottest ever.
Oh, so it was really hard. And the second thing was, back then I was not running as technically as I run today. And I remember I got a 1:37:02, if I'm not wrong, for my half marathon, and I never felt that weak. The humidity and also the flyovers, I had no idea. Just registered somewhere. We saw. We went in a bus from Mumbai to Hyderabad, but as soon as we reached there, we fell in love with the city. People are super nice. Infrastructure is great. Uh, we would go travel and sit by the lake, sit there, Necklace Road. We would enjoy it, and then we raced. Where I'm coming to is these flyovers. I'm getting to more specific about the race that is coming up pretty soon as well. People dread it. We talk about Mumbai Marathon having a pedal road. You get it once or twice depending on the half marathon or marathon you're running, which is 45-meter, 47-meter elevation total. But here, as soon as you start the half marathon, you get the first flyover in very shortly. Did you do it by design? You wanted for people to suffer, or what was it?
No, it is not by design. See, it's very interesting. You don't have a world record for a marathons because every course varies,
Yeah.
temperature, the terrain, everything, unlike any other event. So when we were planning in 2011 for event, we wanted to do an out and back, probably to Charminar and back. But then the police, told us that, see, what is the best practice for events we would like to know. And I told them most of them have a point to point overseas. He told, then you should do this. Start from one part of the city and finish in another part of the city. And then as you go, you kind of start clearing it up for traffic and not hold back. You're currently a small community. You need to build it. You need to get the public on it. So that involved going from Hyderabad to the new Hyderabad area, which you call the Cyberabad now. When I went and attended marathons overseas, the start point had to be the end area has to be very easy. It has to be able to accommodate many people. So the geography, the entire things were like this. Secondly, as you know, Hyderabad is a plateau region.
Yeah.
So asking me to remove any of this is like asking me to remove humidity from Mumbai or the seacoast,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is the natural trait. So how did the flyovers come? It's unfortunate that we had to evaluate between safety and the convenience of the runner and the people. So we decided to kind of because the city evolved that way, we had this flyovers. We had totally around 3 4 flyovers now, because those are all critical areas of the city where people have to move. Like one example, the second flyover is one where you actually have it's like the place where almost all the buses coming out of the city come, and that's one of the first halt area. So in the morning, if you were to do that, there has to be an alternate route. There were no alternate routes, and the police felt like, you want to do this in a safe way, you better take it up. So it was unfortunate or fortunate, I wouldn't want to say, but the course is now very unique. People call it the flyover, people call it the toughest, but people call it the marathon also. It evolved to be what it is. And I always wish that I could remove one or two of those flyovers, but then I need to find alternate routes. I need to measure the distance. So it's multiple factors that have been taken into consideration to reach where we have to. But you know, I have asked many runners, given a chance, do you want us to change the route? The first thing everybody said, no, don't do that. I mean, your the race USP is your route and whatever it is. And people train seriously, come, and they feel that if they get a personal best here, then they're good to go anywhere. So I guess it just happened this way. And I've also seen races abroad. Like for example, New York started in the Central Park for first 5 6 years. As the event became big, it slowly moved on. And I had met George. I'm sorry, when I spoke to George, George told me about how he got the agreement to be done. He and Fred Lebo worked together to get all the 5 boroughs to sign the agreement for holding the New York Marathon. It was a very difficult task. So
Yeah.
we start from Staten Island and finish in Central Park. So all races, I was speaking to somebody who Mr. Paco Barro, the president of AIMS. He told me that Valencia, first 10, 15 years, the race was organized outside the city. And when it became popular, then they let it come into the city. Now the entire city shuts down for the event, like in Mumbai. So I guess there are multiple reasons as to how the routes are decided, and we should end of the day give credit to the city, the police, the authorities, and the people for letting it happen. So I wish I can definitely make the route easier or better, but it would come only after due consideration from all the people.
Yeah. And let me tell you, the point that you mentioned, that when you spoke to runners and they said they don't want you to change the route, if you ask me, I would also say the same. Every race has a soul, and we have to respect it. And one of the coolest things about this race is its route, which we all love, and the challenge that it brings also makes it unique in addition to everything else. So last year when I was there, I decided I'm not going to run the race to get a PR or whatever, because you can't get in Hyderabad. But I thought I'm just going to enjoy and I will cheer whoever I'm getting. And along the way, I just kept cheering people. I met a lot of people on the way who would recognize me, etc., because of the podcast. And then we started strategizing how to climb the next flyover. So we used to run, it seemed like we were running from flyover to flyover. And some of those people have become friends. So anything, a journey that you go through which is worth traveling, makes memories of life. That's how it seems actually almost every time. I'm not trying to make it philosophical, but actually it is true that we had a strategy to attend to every flyover in a slightly different way, and that's the fun part. So I totally agree with everyone that please never change the flyovers.
That's right. Thank you.
Awesome. Moving forward, the race is coming up very soon. Now I would request you to wear a couple of hats, one of an organizer and second of a runner. um, what is it that you would advise to people who are coming and running the race? Of course, I'll be there too. But what would you advise? How should they look at the taper period? How should they look at planning, the logistics? How should they think of the expo and the race?
Yeah, first thing is, as I keep saying in my language, it's just another just 2.5 weeks for the race. So now you are in the taper period. I would call it the sterile period, I would say. So whatever training you have done, it's all there, and now it's just for you to be careful. Don't do anything funny, or don't try anything new. Stick to your schedule. Take care of yourself, especially with your food and sleep. Uh, Not to eat food outside, probably not the oily fried food. Those are the kind of preferences I would say in terms of what it is. So in terms of weather, one of the reasons why we organize the race in the just end of the monsoon period, and it's got some of the best weathers in the country. So except for 1 year, that was 2014 and stuff, you've had a reasonably good weather starting at 20, 22 degrees, going up to 28, 29. So just prepare for that, and there'll be I'm sure there'll be a little bit of humidity. So prepare for this. I'm sure all of you are aware that Hyderabad has got this flyovers, and I hope you have done your hill runs and some kind of run, so that's easy. If you have not, just do try out a few runs before, but have a strategy for each part of the section of the race. On this We're slowly going to have the route review video coming out in another week's time, which will give you a complete idea of what the route is, how to kind of handle it. And then, you look at it. Support, yes, every aid station, everything will be planned. There'll be traffic closures, there'll be public support. Uh, we're going to have a lot of support from our medical partners in terms of being able to cater to any requirements. So from our side, I would say, and then it's just that, we want to be a race for the runners, by the runners, and of the runners. So we are very focused on it. What are we doing differently this year? As last year we became a World Athletics label event, we kind of have started looking at various things. So one is the idea of sustainability in athletics for a better world. So we are at the first step this year. What we have done is we have given the option for people to opt out of buying a T-shirt, from such simple things to working with the community of rack pickers to come and make a livelihood on that, reducing the flex printing. What we would request the runner is, we are doing a lot. From your side, what we would request you to contribute is probably bring your small bottle to fill it up rather than doing all this. Just be mindful about how you kind of consume and what it is, and not to waste any food, and be part of our entire initiative to make it better. And, there is this interesting saying that the most sustainable race is the one which is not started. That is, you don't hold it. Unfortunately, we cannot do that. So what best can we do is this. I mean, we are quite, I wouldn't want to say ambitious, but we are really working hard to say the next 3 to 4 years, can we make this a carbon neutral event? So we want you starting a journey on a sustainability effort on this. That's something. Apart from that, the expo, as you're all held, is Hightex. And Hightex is one of the most professional organizations, first custom thing. They have a lot of interesting things going on at Hightex. From, it's a sport expo. While we are part of it, and where the big distribution happens, they're having a face-off for box cricket. They're having a taekwondo championship. There's pickleball to play. So it's about active lifestyle and wellness, and a lot of products on display for the runner to kind of know what it is. We will definitely give you as much possible a seamless experience at the expo, so that you don't have to wait. And then on the run day, I'm sure that all of you know what to do, and you don't have to tell what needs to be done. I know you're going to get, tempted with the Hyderabadi biryani and everything. Just be a bit cautious, but probably reserve it for post race to kind of do whatever you can. And the city is all geared up. The public are going to be there, and we look forward to you. So this from a runner's perspective. As an organizer, as I mentioned to you, we are taking all the necessary precautions to do a safe and secure race for all the runners, and cause minimum inconvenience to the general public. We are working hard to create as much awareness. We have a team just working on city engagement to create awareness, so that people don't come out in their cars and instead come and cheer. We are working with simple things, from the Google Maps giving a warning, and then with all other public forums where we can do. So we want to really make it an event where the city owns the event. It's just not about, a runner society as somebody owning the event. That's what we are aspiring to do this year.
Beautiful. We will for sure do our bit to make sure it's as sustainable as possible. And one part I won't be able to agree with is not to have the biryani before the race.
And sure, do it in moderation. That's all.
Yeah, I think that is the compromise we can live with, because the biryani and the salan just seems like you just can't reach Hyderabad and not be there in next 30 minutes.
I'm with you on that. I completely agree. But I'm just giving you the thing just to see that you don't get any stomach bugs or anything like that. That's it.
Right, just the statutory warning.
That's right.
Yeah, we personally are also doing our bit, where we are actually we built an AI feature within India Running app, and we are bringing the Hyderabad Runners route whenever it's live, and people can interact with it. push it to Garmin, etc. That's just what we do for different races. But this one is very sought after. So a lot of our trainees are also there in the city. And so I think you and Geeks and Feet, and I think they are doing a lot of content
Yeah,
on it. So all of
that's right.
this will add value.
One more point which I want to tell you is, once the runner completes, in the past we have been trying to get, arrange vehicles to drop them off at areas where they get more options for getting back to the city. So this time is a very more focused attempt by our people who are volunteering on the transportation side, wherein you kind of have buses transporting you to a certain place, and from there, hopefully, you can get cabs or autos. We're also trying to work with the police department to see if they can speak to the operators if they're at a certain place, and from where they can go. We're also dropping them at the metro station so that they have options. So I know that there is a peak period of close to 10,000 people. We would be having around probably 50, 60 buses. We would request members to be patient and just wait for their turn to get going. And it will be worth it because, again, there have been complaints that, transportation gets difficult and they have to pay a lot of money. So that's something which is unfortunate. We are trying to address every part of the runner experience from like last year. Unfortunately, the breakfast had a lot of queues. We give hot breakfast so that there's no wastage of food, because in the stadium they had added chairs, so there were challenges. So now they're trying to move the breakfast outside the stadium where there's enough place. People can eat more leisurely. They don't have to worry about the queues. But end of the day, you have a certain 1 2 hour window where it's 10,000, 12,000 people. So I would just request the runners to be patient and probably cooperate, and we do what best we can.
Nice. For sure. And the hot breakfast, I could never fathom how you manage this, because for us, even in smaller size races, it becomes very difficult to manage hot breakfast. And so I think we go also for convenience and we move to packed breakfast. But that's a tip maybe I can take separately as to how the so much of hot breakfast can be served for the race.
First 4 years, we used to give it in a packed breakfast. It was in 2014 that I first saw Bangalore NEB race organized. They gave a hot breakfast, but there were a lot of challenges. So I looked at what were the challenges, and then we decided that we were already advised by the team managing our recycling and waste that there's a lot of food wastage with packed breakfast. Secondly, it's like the runner just takes the box. He likes what he wants. He just throws it off. Sometimes you have some children on the way and they just give it, which I thought was, and then it had paper, it had plastic, it had multiple things which became very difficult to recycle. And we realized that our Indian way of doing things is hot breakfast, serving limited food. We respect food.
Yeah.
So we started moving into that. And that's how we kind of think. We have had a couple of very good caterers who their ability to cater to 12,000, 15,000 people. They have so many number of plates, so they don't have to worry to wash the plates. We've been lucky to have a few caterers, and we have been continuing this. We have had serious discussions, and I think people keep saying that we should give packed breakfast, but people don't understand that it's a lot of wastage. You have wrappers, all this. Most important, the runner, he wakes up at 3 or 4 in the morning, and then he comes back, and you're giving him something packed. It may not be a great idea. So
Right.
we are, the idea of giving this, it's easy on their stomach. It's better for them, improves the recovery. So that's the reason we kind of have decided to stick to hot breakfast. And I think we would work on to see how it can be bettered and taken forward. There will be a few things. We do have complaints from people. Sometimes they'll say that, this food by 9 or 10 is stale, which is not true. We have them actually making them fresh through that time. And the team managing the food has been very, very uh, cautious. We even take care to see that food samples are taken into the house and we taste them after 6 hours, 8 hours to see if there is any food poisoning or any other thing. And trust me, we should thank everybody who's been part of that. We've not had a single case of food poisoning in so many number of years.
Nice. Touchwood. And this is great to be able to pull this off year after year with the help of everyone. And like you said, the vendor partners, they play a great role, and it seems to be coming true here as well. I'm sure it will continue to do as good, and all of us runners will continue to experience it. Whatever we can do from our end, we will try to make sure there is a less and less inconvenience to the organizer, because at times runners can be unreasonable, but we won't be this time or in the future for sure. So has been such a great journey of you building the running society, building the races, and inspiring all of us. A race that has become city's race, and also draws inspiration from all of us in different parts of the country. And this was one of the reasons why I was thinking this podcast will make so much sense.
One more thing which I would like to share is
Please.
that, in my journey of this, we were lucky to get the support of runners from various groups. And, uh, Chennai runners, Cochin, many places, Satara, Coimbatore, Raipur, all these people, they all, they kind of came, saw our race, they organized. You know, some of them have bettered the experience and we have learned from them. So this entire thing is a very mutually, I would say, enriching experience, that what we do, some other race does it better, and then we learn. It's a constant process. We have
Yeah.
learned things from Mumbai Marathon. We have learned things from, Bangalore Marathon. I think this entire idea of race organizing, the organizers have to keep their eyes, ears open to see what is happening and how you can bring it. So that
Yeah.
kind of makes this better for us in terms of what we do and how we kind of really do. And I would like to thank all these fellow runners, race directors, who have contributed to my growth directly or indirectly, in terms of just not only telling things, but sometimes by their feedback, sometimes by their criticism, and sometimes just their presence. They've come runners. I know race directors of other places. They have come, stood by, and told me what went right, what went wrong. So it's a very nice way of actually improving ourselves. I guess what holds good in life is the more you kind of learn from others, the more you can actually teach people. So that's something which I would.
Yeah. No, and this further resonates with the thought of running, which is so inclusive inherently. And I think that is what is the case with the runners and organizers alike. And also, I think this was critical that the organizers came together to help each other learn, because it's a new industry, fairly new industry in the country. And so experiential learning, the peer-to-peer learning, I'm sure has played a pivotal role in so many of our journeys. And like you, I have also learned from so many of other experienced organizers, races, runners, and we keep improving every year. So I think huge thanks to all of them who have contributed to your journey, to the races journey, and possibly it will continue to contribute positively as well.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you, Vikas.
That was all for today. I hope you are going to be tapering well and getting ready for the race. I'm going to see you in the expo, if not on the race day. I may not be racing, but I'll be in the expo for sure. Let's go run well, and let's thank Mr. Vetcha and his entire community of Hyderabad runners for putting such a great show year on year, month on month, and every day.